Lindsay with TFD Style, and today we're here in my living room and I'm just going to show you a way that you can take an old trunk, or in this case it's actually a military footlocker, and turn it into kind of industrial looking coffee table for not much money at all. I picked this up probably at like a Goodwill or a thrift store, I can't remember where, but I see them at Goodwill all the time, and I've actually seen a lot of them on Craigslist for relatively inexpensive. This is cool. I like ours because it's actually got, this was Major F.G. Wepler's foot locker, and it's got these awesome like leather handles on the side. I think it's really cool, so I'm excited about using it in our living room. Only right now, as you can see, it's a little shorter than the coffee table, and I'd like it to be raised up just a little bit. So by giving it some casters, some wheels underneath, we're going to raise it up so it's a little bit more user-friendly, and at the same time we're going to kind of give it that industrial look. It's also going to make it look a little bit better because right now it is on this kind of shag rug and it just kind of sinks down into it. So it's actually going to make it pop up off of that a little. So that's what we're going to be doing. So for this project, if you're going to want to try this, you're going to want to try to find a trunk that is a good size for the couch that you're putting it with. And you're going to want to buy 4 casters. I got mine at Home Depot. They were each about, I don't know, a little over $5 a piece. So we were looking at like $22, $23 total. I'm going to use some scrap wood that we have laying around, and I'll talk with you more about that in a minute when we get started out in the garage. All right, so step 1 is going to be taking a 2x4 or a 4x4. Like I said, I just got this from a scrap pile that we keep. If you don't have anything, the most you're going to need is going to be about 16 inches of wood, the length of it. So because these casters measure about 3 3/4 of an inch this way, and we're going to want them to be able to have wood under them completely, we're going to go ahead and mark at 4 inches. Just a little tip when you're marking wood, you find your measurement where you want it, and then instead of doing a line because it can go at an angle and mess you up, or maybe a line in the wood you would lose your spot, you actually make a V that points directly to the measurement like that, and that way when you cut, you know exactly at the point is where you want to be. So I'm going to mark at 4 inches, at 8 inches, 12, and 16. We're going to cut. So before I cut, I bring my blade down and I always just touch it to the wood and kind of line it up on my mark to make sure I'm right where I want to be. Pull it up, make sure my hand is out of the way completely, and then from up top we're going to squeeze and get the blade going before we hit the wood. Alright, so for step 2, what you're going to do is you're going to take your trunk or your foot locker and you're going to flip it upside down, and then you're going to take one of your casters, and you'll see that it's going to have the 4 spots that your bolts are going to go through. You're going to take that and set it on the corner and align it where you want it, and then take a pencil and just trace the inside of those circles so that we can go back and do some pilot holes with our drill in just a minute. So you're just going to go all the way around. Okay, so we're on to step 3. We've got all of our spots marked where we need to drill our holes, and I'm going to go ahead and take my drill, and you're going to want your bit to be just a little bit smaller than the bolts that you're going to use. So going straight down in, you're just going to find the center of the hole that you marked. Okay, so for step 4, we're basically doing the same thing we did in step 3, only instead of doing it on your trunk, you're going to move to the wood pieces that you cut. So in my case, it's these 2x4 chunks. I'm going to put my caster on there again and just give myself some marks for where I'm going to drill. Give it on all of them. And the reason that we do this and what we're doing is called drilling pilot holes. Hard to go by. Is so that when you go to drill your screw into the wood, it doesn't split it and crack it. Especially with how my screws are going to be going in so close to the edge. Wood cracks easy when you drill close to the edge. So this is just to kind of prevent that from happening. Once you have all those done, you can set your caster aside, and again, just from the top, you don't have to go all the way through, just kind of give it a starting point right in the center. Get some holes started in the wood. Okay, so we're on step 5, and it's kind of the final step in putting this all together. What you're going to need is your block of wood that you've cut and put your pilot holes in, your caster, your bolts. I'll go ahead and put the size that I used in the information that goes with this video. And then you're going to need a ratchet to put these on, because as you'll notice that these nice beefy bolts like this are like a hex top like that, and a drill isn't going to work for it. So you're going to use this long piece is called the ratchet, and this is the socket. So you're going to want to find a socket that slides in nicely with your bolt. And what you're going to do is, I like to start them with my hands first. So find your holes that you made earlier, and just start by kind of getting, it helps if you put the wheel on first. Just start by kind of pushing them in there and getting them going. Get a couple in so they won't have to hold it anymore. Start. You're going to take your block, and from the inside, you're going to line up your pilot holes with where you see the bolts coming through. And then with your right hand, or left if that's your dominant hand, from the outside, you're going to put your ratchet on the bolt. The other hand, line that up inside. And then just start cranking. To apply a good amount of pressure with that inside hand so that the bolt will really grab onto your wood. The other one, once that one's started. Go ahead and do that with all 4 bolts on each caster, and you're going to be done with that step. Hey guys, so at the end of that last clip, I said that when you were done attaching all 4 casters, you were done with that step. In actuality, when you're done attaching all 4 casters, you're just done. It really doesn't take that long to complete it. I did this when the kids got home from school, because my 8-year-old had to video it for us, and it only took about, I don't know, maybe an hour tops, maybe a little longer because we were doing the video with it, but it was actually pretty quick. But what I did want to tell you is that it wasn't a walk in the park, that I ran into some snags along the way, and I just wanted to share those with you because we didn't have them on the video, and I don't want you to think that like it's all just perfect and easy. Almost every project I do, I cuss myself or a thing because I end up getting frustrated and having to fix something along the way. So I just want to let you know what I ran into, and you might run into the same thing, and things that I would have done differently if I were going to do another one of these trunks. The little blocks of wood that I used could have been or should have been bigger. The screws that I was using to go into the wood they had to be pretty big in order to hold those casters on. So I should have had a little bit more room with the wood because I was so close to the edge that even though I drilled those pilot holes, I did still end up cracking the wood and having to replace one piece. So next time, I think what I would do is just go ahead and instead of doing screws into wood, I would either do that pilot hole, like actually drill the hole completely through the 2x4 and use like a bolt and a nut and secure it that way. Or if the trunk is strong enough, I think that you could get away without even using the wood and just going directly through the caster with a bolt and then having like a washer and a nut to secure it. So that's what I would do next time. And if you're watching this for the first time, you might give it a shot if you feel like your trunk is sturdy enough to hold up. But if you do end up doing it the way I did, just beware that you might crack your wood with those big bolts. So anyway, I hope this was helpful and showed you guys that you don't have to, go out and buy a piece of furniture, that you can very easily find something and repurpose it and make it fit your space. Anyway, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask me. I'd love to hear them and hopefully be able to help you out. So stay tuned for more DIY projects.